Hey everybody, if you're wanting to do 250% plus to your number, especially in a tough economic climate, even while selling some of the hardest to sell software in the world, while compressing your deal cycles in half, I wanted to share it with you and introduce my client and good friend Wes Matthews, who's doing exactly that. Keep watching and enjoy. All right, what's going on? Marcus here. I'm here with my good buddy Wes Matthews. He's a student in our program. He's absolutely crushing it. Hey, Wes, do you mind introducing yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Yeah, happy to be here, Marcus. Wes Matthews. I'm at a company called Gray Castle. I am a solution advisor there. It's essentially cybersecurity.
Oh, I love it, man. So before you and I started working together, what was the big problem? What was the challenge you were already into?
What's the best way to describe this? I would say lack of applicable skill set. Not articulating this that well, but I would say
That's okay, brother.
I would say access to quality teaching, quality mentoring, let's say like closing, prospecting. I think a lot of what I've seen out there has been very regurgitated, if you will. Whereas I think what you've done that no other sales coaching that I've been exposed to, and I've pretty much done it all, is it's been a very fresh perspective. It's been a dynamic level of teaching that I just don't think exists in the marketplace right now. And I think that clarity that you brought to the table, especially how it helped me and related with me, was top notch. And I think that's, if I had to kind of describe it, that's how to do it.
I love that, man. I really appreciate that. And you mentioned you looked at other programs and then you eventually decided on working with me. How did you choose to go with my program when you finalized that decision?
Well, you're all over LinkedIn, right? I'm trying to remember the first posting that I saw. And here's another value for, if someone's on the fence, right? I would say that you do what you say. And I think that is very refreshing as someone who's kind of models their own life after that. But what I mean by that, and to get a little bit granular, is I think that the product that you put out there is led with value. And I know that there's plenty of coaches out there that talk the same game, but they don't actually provide you with the mechanics or the process to provide that value. And even if they do, it's usually something that they've heard from someone else. And by the time you get your hands on it, it's outdated. Whereas I think what I was trying to explain prior was you help to create the process and the method around actually developing a structure that is dynamic enough where once you learn it, it can continue to evolve as the market evolves, if that makes sense.
I love that. And as you reflect back into all the things you've learned, for whether it's the course part, the coaching, etc., was there anything in particular you found to be most effective that helped you the most?
Well, the closing, I think, was the best. And I think that what I took away most was it wasn't just like, okay, you get an objection and, you say, okay, great. Why don't we set up a call for 2 weeks from now, right? I think I experienced this when you closed me in the discussion that we had to do this program. And even then, there was such a nice spin on it that I hadn't seen before. And it made me not only respect your game, but it also helped me understand, okay, you're doing something different. And now that I've learned it and I've seen it and I've used it in practice as well, it's just lights out. I think that's what's so fascinating to me about your content is it continues to evolve, and it evolves in a way that you can actually structure it to whatever you're doing. I've been fortunate enough, I started out on the Wall Street side. I did institutional sales. I've done investment banking. I've done some other stuff in terms of being an entrepreneur and developing businesses, right? And sales for me was always something where I was lacking that skill set that I knew was out there somewhere, somehow. And I had really gotten kind of jaded with respect to the content or the instruction that has been out there. And I'm the type of person that will go out there and read books and, do all that work. But after a while, I don't care who you are. If you don't get the right instruction and you don't get that quality content that can help you immediately as well as long term, you just get disconnected and you get disenchanted with the process. And I think one of the things that I really truly love about your stuff has been the fact that it's been very simple and it's been very structured, and in that structure is the ability to adapt and evolve at the same time, which I don't know if that makes a lot of sense to most people. And I know it makes sense to you because you're in the field and you're doing this stuff. And I think that if there's one message that I want to kind of like people to walk away from, if they hear this, is look, no one else is doing anything like this. And it's much simpler than you think. And if you think that what you're going to get or what you're going to really drive out of some of the free stuff that you're getting, just follow the free stuff long enough. And then when you get to the point where you're like, okay, like this will pay for itself, do it, because there's no reason to delay. And I think by delaying, you're actually just preventing yourself from reaching a level where the program's going to pay for itself anyway.
I appreciate that. I think you articulated so well. The program is designed to give you clear direction and support so you can get to where you want to go, whatever you sell. Even as you evolve as a salesperson, whether you're brand new, you're intermediate, you're advanced, that's what it's designed for. So I love that. So for you, you've been in sales for a long time. You've done all types of sales. So when you joined the program, how soon did you start to see any type of result?
I don't want to say it was instantaneous, but I do think that when you commit to something, right? And this is definitely a mindset thing. I don't think most people are going to be able to resonate with them, but I do believe that what's that saying? When you commit, Providence moves. And I strongly believe when you commit in the right direction and you commit with the right atmosphere or the right teachings or the right instruction, Providence will move. So I think that I was reluctant in the beginning because I was jaded, as I explained earlier. And I think that for me made it that much more difficult to actually commit to someone that I did get the sense this is different. But to answer your question, I don't know, it was probably from a confidence perspective, I was building pipeline, I don't know, 3 to 5 times, like 3 to 5x versus what I was doing before. And all I had really done in addition to apply what your teachings were was it was really more like confidence. And I think we talked about this before, and I'll reiterate this, is like the understanding of, look, if someone doesn't see value in what you're providing, then you're not either articulating it well enough, or you just don't have the amount of confidence that you need in order to project that level of value. So I think that's a super, super important thing for any salesperson to understand, because if you do lack that confidence, people know it. But if you have that confidence and you have the skill set and the structure behind that confidence to actually have those conversations and create that habits that will enable you to take it to that next level, the sky's the limit.
I love it. I mean,
Sky's not the limit,
so
actually.
well.
It's beyond that.
Beyond the limit, right? And that's the right mindset you have, So for you, how long did it take for you to earn back your initial investment?
Probably less than a month.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And as you reflect back, what's probably been your proudest outcome as a result of implementing the program?
Proudest outcome is that I wasted a lot of time thinking that I'll figure this out on my own, or I'll look through the free stuff and I'll be able to get it from that. And I do think you could actually look through a lot of your free stuff because you do spell it out a fair amount of times. You give a lot away. And I think that's what's amazing about it. And I think the ability for you to give a lot of it away and then on top of it to get into the program and actually have like even more gold. It's just, I know that I'm like definitely selling what you're doing, but I think it's pretty amazing that you can actually take it to that level. And I think the other component to it that's probably not well understood by someone who's not in this program or who hasn't gone through this program, because there's a lot of testimonials, a lot of people out there, they're going to say this, say that, right? And this is an actual testimonial, right? This is not like, staged, just in case you're wondering.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that is a huge value add is the weekly call, because I don't think I've ever been on a weekly call with any sort of like mentor that has done a role play with me, like on the spot. And I think that's where you truly separate yourself from a guru, a sales coach, or anybody else that's out there. And I think the way that you've structured the program itself to include, a very simple set of videos, the way that you instruct everyone to take that information, take that instruction, apply it right away, in addition to the reinforcement, and then to the ability to really just like have that call with you each week on Wednesdays and throw deals in front of you and say, this is where it is. Like, what do you think? That's huge, because I think most of the people out there, are probably similar to me with respect to like their managers, where their managers are just, they're ragged, right? And I have a pretty good manager. If he's listening to this, I have a great manager. And I have a lot of respect for him as a salesperson, but he's overwhelmed and he's getting a lot of overwhelm from leadership. You know, it all feeds down. And I think one of the other things that I really want to throw in here, that's another dimension to the outcome, if you will, for me, is I think that, you know, I have entrepreneurial like background, right? And I have, you know, a corporate background as well. And I have a sales background and I'm investing, trading, like I've done a lot of different things. But what this has helped me really structure in my own head is the next stage, the next phase, the next evolution of Wes, right? The next evolution of where I want to go. So it's not just, hey, this is a great sales program. Like you're going to become an awesome salesperson. You can actually create a multi-dimensional approach towards how you're going to develop multiple revenue streams. And that's where I think there's not a lot of instruction on how to do that, but what you enable the person to do is not just be great at sales, but also be very good in terms of like, if I want to go to management, I can do this. And I remember this was free and you pulled it down, but it was great content, was the brag book. Brag book was super helpful for me because I transitioned from a finance investment background into tech. And that was huge for me. Like nobody was sending out a brag book and you had just gave it away. Like, you know, hey, take it. And so that was really helpful for me. So I want to thank you for that. But, you know, to put a button on it, I would say that it's not just sales. It's also, you know, LinkedIn, it's branding, right? It's also the confidence to really step out on that ledge and know that you're not going to fall.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. You're so spot on. There's a lot of great leaders out there, but a lot of them are just not set up to win, to support their team, you know? So I'm glad you took action, right? And you went and got your own help. So where would you, I mean, if you reflect back, let's say if you hadn't taken action to join the program, where do you think you would be if you had not done that?
I'd be doing the same crap, right? I'd be doing it. Yeah, I might be getting better, right? So I think might be a simple way to say it without me getting into the whole like circuitous like story. I would say most people, they aim to get 1% better, right? And we all know that expression.
Yeah.
Why get 1% better when you get 15, 20% better? And I think that's once you start to really understand the compounding nature of skill sets, right? Like I teach people how to invest. I teach people how to trade. I teach people how to speculate. I teach people how to like approach life in a way that's beyond what they think they can do. And so when I really saw a lot of your stuff like M5 and, you know, goal setting, which I haven't even done the goal setting. and that's a disservice to myself, but I've just been like, I've been slaying it so much that it's almost like foolish for me to like put them down on paper because I know that I'm just going to surpass them. And then I got to do it again. Although it is a helpful exercise. So I you know.
Good problem to have. Good problem.
Yeah. That's for compliance, right? No, I mean, I really do. I'm angry with myself that I didn't do it sooner. And I do blame the market. I blame the other leaders or so-called leaders in the sales space for that. And that's one of the few times that I'm not going to take ownership for something, because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for every decision I make and I'm the captain of my ship. But at the end of the day, I do think that there's so much crap out there. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. It's really difficult to not only find good instruction, good comment, good content, good mentoring, but it's also really difficult when you do find it to be able to say, okay, this is where I want to invest my time. This is where I'm going to make my commitment. And unfortunately, that's really just problematic or epidemic within, you know, the sales space.
Totally agree. So if there was someone out there who's watching this, who's been doing that, you know, they're like following all these influencers who never really sold or carried the bag and they're getting inundated with knowledge, but they're kind of on the fence about joining the program. What would you tell someone who's on the fence about joining the program?
Just stop wasting your time. Go through 3 to 5 things, right? If that content doesn't help you, then go talk to, I forget who wrote the sales Bibles, like Gitman or something.
Yeah, Gitmer. Yep. Jeffrey
There's
Gitomer.
plenty of people out there
Yeah.
that write books, and it's like the content is dead the second that thing becomes printed. Okay. And like I read your book and I was like, wow, this is really good. My problem is it's like I got to read a book, right? And especially in this day and age, there's no substitution for like that one-on-one interaction. And there's definitely no substitution for the way that you deliver the content in the program, as well as reinforce it through the community, as well as like the one-on-one calls or the group calls that you do weekly. So, I mean, just don't waste your time. If your time is important to you, and it should be, maybe even watch the presentation you did at the AI conference, right? Like everybody can Google search that, do AI, do Marcus Chan, right? Whatever. I think that presentation alone helped me understand that my time was a lot more valuable than I was giving it credit for. And when I started to really reposition my own mindset around that concept, I realized all I'm doing is taking risk on a cost perspective. I'm not taking risk on a skill perspective. And I think that was one of the shifts that I made. And I've mentored with some serious people. Like I've put down 50 Gs for 12 one-hour sessions over the course of a year. And I was scared as hell. And this is maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think that you can take huge risk like that. And this program isn't even like close to that in terms of cost, but what you're going to get out of it is like a multiple, many times higher.
Do I appreciate it. Any last words before we wrap up?
I don't know. I'm out of breath.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you're a rock star, dude, and you're just getting warmed up. So thank you so much for being on.
Of course. Appreciate the opportunity.
If you enjoyed this interview and you want to get results like Wes, in which you want to do 250% plus to your number, if not beyond that, then go and click the link anywhere on this page to book a time with the team and see if we can help you do the exact same as well. Thank you so much for watching.